So in week 8 we spoke about activism in class. So activism is essentially an action to affect social change. Like they have an agenda, they have a purpose, and they're out to actually do something. Whereas like sitting behind a computer, like liking pages or like sharing some kind of info, whether that's a one-time thing or not, it's still more of like a slacktivism side, not so much active. We used the case study of the Starbucks in the Forbidden City in class. So what we kind of drew from that throughout discussions is that there shouldn't have been a Starbucks in the Forbidden City. And then we also brought back like the Disneyland case study, where Disneyland kind of incorporated the Japanese culture, and then they should have done that for France, and they've now sort of done that. So that there's this incorporation of different cultures into like global businesses such as Starbucks. Now, for me, my personal experience with China and living in China is that there were a lot of Starbucks there, and I mean, maybe it's just because I'm a Western, but I really enjoyed the Starbucks, and I didn't really see very many changes to adapt for the Chinese culture. Um, I mean, I think that they had a special green tea type drink, which is quite popular in the Chinese culture, is like the whole green and the tea and healthy versions like that. However, I also know that the locals really enjoyed Starbucks as well, and it seems like a lot of the Chinese people, especially in the cities, like the major cities, like in Shanghai and Beijing, they're very welcoming of the Western culture. So Starbucks not adopting Chinese culture or Chinese preferences wasn't a negative thing in China, isn't a negative thing in China, and I don't think that they would have been more successful had they adapted. However, saying that I do agree that Starbucks going into the Forbidden City is wrong. Um, Although countries are now more willing to kind of blur the borders of different cultures and like incorporating other cultures into their own, I feel like the Forbidden City kind of it's history, it's the culture's ancestry, and to implement the Western culture through like the Starbucks store into their ancestry, in a sense, it's kind of getting rid of their history. And I feel like that blurs the lines too much. So in PR, I think we need to understand where it is and where it isn't appropriate to kind of combine cultures. We have to be sensitive to the cultures. We have to be sensitive to where they came from and their beginnings. So knowing the aspects like the religious days or like religious symbols, or for instance, the Forbidden City, so like religious monuments, we need to understand these the importance of these throughout the different cultures, so that when we're creating campaigns and we're communicating with these cultures, there's that understanding, and so that we don't overstep our boundaries or the line. So that is kind of my conclusion, what I got from our week 8 class, talking about activism.